that we've seen how to properly choose your authorized representative, let's proceed to the second option, do-it-yourself or the DIY process. The do-it-yourself or DIY process of application can sometimes be messy, complicated, or time-consuming, but it is equally rewarding and fulfilling once you get approved. Trust me, I am a DIY applicant from start to end of our permanent residency journey here in Canada. However, I do acknowledge and understand that DIY process is not for everyone. In this video, we're gonna look at some pointers to help you decide whether DIY application is for you or not.
The very first thing that you have to consider is time. Do you have the time to research about the process? Sometimes it's not just about the money. Time is of the essence too. Let's look at two examples where time is crucial in achieving your goal. First, you live a very busy, hectic lifestyle. Maybe you are a working mom or dad, or an entrepreneur, or perhaps a very active person with a lot of commitments. But you want to start your application here in Canada. Your schedule is already packed with your daily activities at work, at home, or your community. Maybe it will be difficult for you to add another thing on your list. But you know how they say, if there's a will, there's a way. You don't have to give up your Canadian dream just because you don't have time to understand the process. You probably can hire an authorized representative to advise you on which pathway to take and do most of the application for you while you carry on with your day-to-day task. However, take note that even if someone is helping you, you still need to provide them all the necessary information and documents for your application. They cannot get those for you. So, this will still require your time and attention. Also, if you want to get the most out of your representative, you still need to allot time to understand the basic part of the process so you can ask intelligent questions about your application. Another situation is, are you in a rush to start your application? For whatever reason it may be, perhaps you're trying to beat a deadline for study permit application because your program will be starting soon and you cannot afford to get a refusal. Or maybe you are on your 40s and each year of not being invited for PR is a wasted opportunity. Consider seeking professional help. Like what I said earlier, you should still do your own research, but it will be best if you do it side by side with a competent, credible, and authorized representative.
As you can see in the two scenarios, DIY application might not be the best option for them. And aside from time, what else is important as a DIY applicant? The next thing to consider is your skill set. Do you have the right skill set in order to succeed as a DIY applicant? This involves the following.
Your listening skills and reading comprehension are important because you will need to watch a lot of videos, read a lot of websites, documents, or guides in order to be familiar with the process. Your writing skills, you'll need to create a study plan or statement of purpose, or what they call SOP, where you have to explain your situation and convince the visa officer that you are a bona fide student. Attention to details. Study permit application involves a number of IRCC forms to be completed. This can be tricky sometimes, and if you're not attentive and meticulous enough, one missing information or missing signature can be the cause of your application's refusal. Your commitment to research. I think this is the heart of a DIYer. In this digital world, all the information is at your fingertips. However, not all information thrown at you are real and helpful. Learn to take everything with a grain of salt. Search for credible evidence like the CIC website before you consider applying that tip to your application. Other people's experience is also an extremely helpful resource. There's a lot going on than just the instructions written in the CIC website. Fill in the gaps by familiarizing yourself with the process from other people's experience. However, keep in mind, their experience is not 100% the same as yours. As a DIYer, you should learn how to cherry-pick information for your own usage. Making a wise decision will not come naturally. You have to understand the process, get as much information as you can, then make an informed decision based on your situation. Capacity to handle rejection or failure is essential. If you're applying on your own, depending on the work and efforts you put in, there's a possibility that you will make a mistake. That should be okay if that's a minor one. However, if that mistake will cost you your application, be ready to face the consequences. My first study permit application was refused. It wasn't easy bouncing back from that rejection. However, I turned that negative thing to positive. I researched even more, did a root cause analysis of why I was refused of a visa. I ordered the visa officer notes, or what they call GCMS or Global Case Management System notes, where I can find a more detailed reason why my application was rejected. Then I changed my strategy. I wrote another SOP, now with a better explanation of my current situation. Thankfully, it worked. My second application was approved, and as well as all the other applications after that. As a DIYer, it can also be frustrating if you found people who have the answers to your burning questions about your application. However, you cannot get a hold of them. This happened to me so many times during my application. I messaged them, but they didn't reply. Or for some people who replied to my message, they were not willing to share the information. I want you to know that it's okay. It's normal. Don't dwell on this frustration. Just find another resource person. People have reasons for doing things. Since you're the one asking for favor, don't get mad if you didn't get what you want. Respect their privacy and move on.
Deciding to apply by yourself is a big decision to make. Another important thing to remember is that the study permit application is just the start of all the other applications that you have to submit in your journey to permanent residency. After SP, there's OWP, TRV, PGWP, sometimes SP extension, OWP extension, EE, PNP, CEC, FSW, and many others. Yeah, there's a lot more to go. So imagine if you start your application as DIY, imagine how much savings you will have because you don't need to hire a representative for all the succeeding applications in your student to PR pathway.
So finally, these questions will help you ponder if DIY is good for you or not. Do you have time to do it yourself? Do you have the right skill set and mindset? Are you ready for rejections and refusals along the way? Are you committed to read, understand, and research about your application process? Do you want to save money for your future applications?
Based on my own experience, I've answered yes or maybe for all of those questions. I was quite unsure at first, but I've gotten more and more clarity as I learned more about the process. Sure, there are problems and rejections along the way, and during those times, it was not easy to bounce back. However, just remembering my why or the reasons why I want to live in Canada, that's enough to power me back up. And if after your self-assessment, you believe that you have enough time and you have the right skill set, kudos to you. You might be suited to become a DIY applicant. But if you think otherwise, that's okay. Don't worry about that. You can always hire a representative to help you until you are more confident to apply by yourself. This video completed the first part of our Canada Study Permit application series. Make sure you watch the other videos in Part 1, Pre-Application Self-Assessment, as shown here. The links are in the description box below. After spending more than a month in Part 1, we are finally moving to part 2. Make sure you are subscribed to my channel as I take you to the step-by-step process of Canada Study Permit application. And if you're following me for quite some time now, when I say step-by-step, you probably know that it is as detailed as possible. Maybe nothing like you've ever seen before. So make sure you ring that notification bell so you won't miss any videos in this series. I hope you learned something from this video, and if you do, please give this a like and share it to your friends and family who need to hear this message. This is Melanie On Demand. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!